Hello, my name is Mars, and today I will be playing Slay the Princess, the Pristine Cut. This is a free update expansion to the hit horror visual novel Slay the Princess that just released. So I'll be playing through the game, all the things I haven't seen before. So yes, I have played the original version of the game twice. So this game will be somewhat blind, somewhat not. My initial blind playthrough was in January. I streamed it, and the VODs will be in the same playlist as this series if you want to check them out. And then one evening in June, I was just kind of bored and I decided to do a second playthrough on a whim. Yep. The thing about Slay the Princess is that, as you can see, it's hiding quite a lot under its simple surface, and there is so much hidden in it that 2 playthroughs are like barely scratching the surface, so there is still quite a lot I've never seen. I should also mention that I have kind of existed tangential to this game's fandom for the past year, because I follow Black Tabby Games on Tumblr, where they're very active, and I've also been active in the Scarlet Hollow fandom, which is their other game, and most Scarlet Hollow fans tend to be Slay the Princess fans as well, so through overhearing talk and a sort of osmosis, you could say, I have become partially aware of what the things I've missed are, by which I mean I can name all of the princesses I haven't met yet, or at least all the base game princesses, because they have added some. And you know what? I think I'm going to do that right now. These are all the princesses I haven't met. The Witch, the Thorn, the Apotheosis, the Grey (Fire), the Eye of the Needle, the Beast, the Den, and the Wild. I can name them, I can give you an idea of what most of them look like, but I don't actually know what any of their deals are yet, like what they're like, how you interact with them, and I'm excited to get to know all of them in this playthrough. So another thing that made me want to wait until the Pristine Cut was released to keep playing was that Black Tabby added a bit of a hint system in the form of a gallery. It's like a screen that shows you all the princesses you've met and the CGs you found, and it gives you like vague hints on how to find new things. And I desperately need something like that because I'm not good at remembering what I have and haven't done. So here it is. As you can see, even though it did not retroactively sync with my progress for my first 2 playthroughs, I have unlocked some things, because this is actually my second attempt at recording this. I wanted to go for one of the Chapter 2s I hadn't seen yet, The Witch. I did some external research on how to reach the Witch and the Beast, which are the 2 Chapter 2s I haven't seen. But I took some wrong turns and I end up seeing the Nightmare and the Moment of Clarity, both of which I have seen before. And it was kind of boring, just me kind of flatly reacting to things I've already seen, so I decided to re-record. But yeah, as I said before, I decided I would start off by trying to get to the 2 Chapter 2s I haven't seen, The Witch and the Beast, and I looked up how to get there from Chapter 1, but once I get there, I really have no idea what's in store for me. So once we get to the Chapter 2s, I'll proceed organically. And we'll start a new game. I've talked long enough. Chapter 1, The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
The end of the world? What are you talking about? I'll try to choose all the same dialogue options I chose in my first attempt at recording this. Get kind of the same experience.
I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her.
But how can a princess locked away in a basement end the world?
Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. We're all counting on you.
Do you have any evidence to back this up?
Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey.
Killing a princess seems kind of bad, though, doesn't it?
Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society.
That does it. The reading of it, it kills me every time. Yeah, so what you need to do for the witch is that you go there, you talk to her a little bit, you go without the dagger, and then after talking to her, you decide, you change your mind and go back up and get the blade. So I kind of decided I would play my first loop hero as being like on the fence. Look, I'll go to the cabin and I'll talk to her, and if she's as bad as you say she is, then maybe I'll slay her. But I'm not committing to anything until I've had the chance to meet her face to face.
Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Hello, hero.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Proceed.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
We're not going to take the blade, we're just going to enter the basement. And I should say, like, my second playthrough that I unfortunately didn't record was very aggressive. I took the blade with me every time. I killed her as often as I could. So there was quite a lot of bloodshed. And there will be a lot of bloodshed here too, I'm sure. Just in a little more roundabout sort of way.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
Last time I said, hey, I think I'm here to slay you. I think I'll do something else. Let's say, lie, I'm here to save you.
Wait, really? You're here to rescue me? I was starting to think I'd be stuck down here forever.
Let's try and trick her.
I see. You're trying to get her to lower her guard. It's a gamble, but it might work.
Come downstairs. I want to see the face of my rescuer.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. I can't believe you're here. I've been waiting for something like this to happen forever. I hope you brought something to deal with these chains.
You were lying when you said you were here to rescue her, but regardless of your intentions, breaking her out of those chains would be a big mistake. Don't even try it.
Hold on, let's talk a bit first.
Okay.
She is so cute. What's your name?
Oh.
She pauses, carefully formulating her words before she responds.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness. Or you can just call me Princess if Your Royal Highness is too formal.
Is Princess her name or her title? What if it's both? Could you imagine being named Princess Princess?
So is Princess your name?
Like I said, you can call me Princess if you'd like.
The reading of that line kind of makes her sound like a broken record a bit. Like, it doesn't sound like she's, like, emphasizing her previous point. It just sounds like she's repeating it in the exact same cadence. It's good.
I'm sorry, I've been down here so long I guess I've just forgotten. I must have a name, though. Everyone has a name.
Okay, that's weird. She hadn't even thought to pick a name for herself. Hopefully you're starting to see that she can't be trusted. Go back upstairs, get the blade, and slay her before it's too late.
If I'm the first person you've seen in a while, what have you been eating or drinking?
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
This is the only time this is ever going to happen, but I agree with the princess. That's hardly relevant. Okay, but actually, what has she been eating? She has to eat, right?
Okay, so... Yeah, I think that what we're taking from that conversation is that she's not quite human. She doesn't have a name, she doesn't seem to eat, so we're suspicious now. I'm sorry, but I just can't trust you. This doesn't add up, and it isn't worth the risk to take your word over the potential fate of the world. I can't talk, it's early in the morning, sorry.
Thank you. You turn back to the stairs, intent on retrieving the blade in the cabin.
So, what? You're going to try and kill me? You'll regret this. I promise you. But go ahead, run along and get whatever you're planning to get. But you'd better hope that I don't slip these chains before you make it back down here.
Slip these chains? She can't, right? She needed our help to get out of here. But do you hear the conviction in her voice? I don't think she's bluffing. She has to be bluffing, but hurry. You rush up to the first floor, grabbing the blade, both yours and the world's only possible salvation. Okay, if we're sure about this decision, I'll support it. I suppose we have a world to save after all. You slowly creep down the basement stairs. It's quiet. Where the princess sat only a moment ago, there's only a severed arm, its cooling flesh still chained to the wall. And she is nowhere to be seen.
Yep, okay, this is the point that I got to, and then I made a choice that screwed me in my quest for the witch.
Is it just me? Or did this room get a lot bigger?
Yeah, I said she's lost an arm, I'm locking her down there and letting her bleed out, and that was a mistake because locking her in the basement always leads to the nightmare, and I've seen the nightmare now in 3 out of 3 playthroughs, trying to get other stuff, so we're gonna finish this, but first we're gonna say hello.
Why don't you come closer? I have something to show you.
Let's finish this.
Your eyes dart to the corners of the room. You don't see her. Where is she?
investigate the arm?
As you step towards the severed limb, you hear the pattering of feet behind you, soft against the basement floor, then loud and desperate against the stairs. You turn to chase after the princess, but she's fast and has too much of a lead. She slams the door behind her before you can make it to the top of the stairs. The lock clicks into place. No!
Thanks for letting me out. I'd return the favor, but I think we both know that I can't trust you to let me stay free. You should understand. It just isn't worth the risk.
With those parting words, the princess walks away, her quiet footsteps eventually fading as she leaves you and the cabin to rot. You're stuck here, alone. It can't just end like this, right? As much as I prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. I'm sorry, but it's over.
Okay, this is not what I expected to happen. I thought we would actually fight her.
You don't know how much time passes before the end, but eventually it comes. The world ends, and you end with it.
Yay, the witch. Alright, we made it. Now, from this point on, I don't know what's going to happen.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't even know if what I'm going to find is original content or Pristine cut content, so this will be exciting. This is why I specifically waited for the Pristine cut, because this is like the definitive edition of the game, and it's full of new stuff.
You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Okay, no.
Oh, don't you start grandstanding about morals. The fate of the world is at risk right now, and the life of a mere princess shouldn't stop you from saving us all.
That wasn't what I was reacting to.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Brilliant. We need to keep our cards close to our chest, and I'm not sure we can trust him.
The opportunist. Now, I don't know what a lot of the voices deals are either. Some of them are pretty clear, even though I haven't seen their, like the princess they're associated with. I've heard people talking about the opportunist. I don't really know what he's like, though.
You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. Did I say I'm not sure we can trust him? Slip of the tongue, bit of the old brain fog. I meant to say that we should probably head over to the cabin and slay that princess. We already know we can't trust her, so let's get on with the show.
He's slippery, I guess, and not very subtle about it. Let's assume I'm telling the truth and all of this really did already happen. Why should I listen to you? Why should I bother doing anything?
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. If you're back here, I'm assuming you died, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. We were just weighing our options in a morally ambiguous situation. You can't blame us for weighing our options. I can if you failed to slay the princess, which you apparently did. So great, congratulations. You've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences.
Yeah, don't you hear the music? It's spookier now.
What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. The princess locked us in a basement, we eventually died, and now everyone's right back where they started. Sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? That's a very good point. This princess character seems like a lot of trouble, and if you think about it, actually slaying her probably breaks us out of this cycle, right? We don't want to be stuck here forever, do we?
Alright, so he's in favor of slaying.
You're laying it on a little thick, aren't you?
Or he's just full of shit. I can't tell. I'm not very good at reading slippery people like this, and I can't tell whether he's being genuine or trying to trick the narrator. I can tell he's slimy, though.
Laying it on a little thick? What are you talking about? I'm sharing my honest opinions. What matters is that almost everyone seems to be on the same page. So whenever you're ready, you can stop dawdling, get to the cabin, and save the world.
Let's talk about this princess.
Just be quick about it.
All she did last time was lock me in a basement until I died. Don't get me wrong, I hated it, but how can someone like that end the world?
She just can. But that doesn't mean you're not fully up to the task that's been given to you. Have a little faith in yourself, and maybe try not to get tricked this time.
Alright, so the point of the witch is that she tricks us, I guess. And I know there are a few other ways to get to the witch. You can free her and then kill her. Either maybe when the narrator forces you to. Like, yeah, and like when you can choose between killing her and freeing her leads to the damsel, and killing her leads to something else. Maybe that's how you get to the witch. Or like after you take her up the stairs, like you grab the blade sneakily, and so it's all about like tricking people. This branch seems to be. Alright. She killed me last time around. How can I make sure that doesn't happen again?
Like I said, if she killed you, it was probably because you didn't listen to me. Don't talk to her, don't trust her, just go in, do your job, and save the world.
I take note of these things because the voices and the princesses both read to me as, from like the point of view of someone neurodivergent who looks for themes of like neurodivergence in fiction, the princess and the voice both very much read to me as coping mechanisms developed over the course of dealing with trauma. So they develop in response to what happened before. So I don't know what the witch is like, but I can already tell that the opportunist is just trying to get ahead of whatever tricks are out in front of him, you know? Who locked her in that basement? What is this place?
People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things.
Alright, this is all the same every time. It doesn't seem like the new voice has anything to say to these options, and it's just the narrator talking, and I've seen it all before, I'm sorry, so I'm just gonna say that's all.
Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin.
Proceed.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Don't worry, I think we've taken that lesson to heart at this point. You can trust us to get the job done.
Proceed.
The interior of the cabin is a mess of twisted roots. The walls a chaotic weave of knotted wood that, almost as if by accident, just happens to resemble a room. The floor is damp and earthy, and the only furniture of note is a slab of mud in the shape of a shelf, with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
This whole cabin is different than last time.
Very different. Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess.
It feels very rustic. That's always another reason why I know all the princesses' names, is because I have the soundtrack. I've downloaded the soundtrack, and all of the song titles are named after the princess whose chapter they play in. I always thought that the witch sounded very like this theme sounded very rustic and like earthy, you know?
so focus up. A lot's riding on this.
He didn't say anything about the mirror on the wall.
That's because there isn't a mirror. There's the muddy shelf, the blade sitting on the muddy shelf, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror, but he says there isn't one. That's got to count for something, right?
I trust my eyes. Why would he lie about there not being a mirror? What's the point?
Come on now. He's pretty much in charge here. When have authority figures ever lied about anything? If there were a mirror in this cabin and we were supposed to look at it, he would have told us about it. Exactly. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? That you waste time preening yourself instead of doing what needs to be done.
Okay, so the opportunist seems kind of like he's sucking up to the narrator. Okay, that's what the hero meant by laying it on a little thick.
You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny.
Wipe the mirror clean?
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now.
I remember my first playthrough got a great reaction out of me seeing his hand for the first time. I was really freaked out.
Well, at least we can all agree now that there's nothing to see here. Case closed. Good work, everyone.
Alright. I think I'm gonna try just going down there and talking to her.
No blade. Leaving it behind didn't work out so well for us last time.
I'm gonna trust.
It'll always be here if we need it. Sure, that was also true last time and we still died, but we definitely know what we're doing this time.
Second time's a charm, right?
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase dug into the muddy earth below. The ceiling is thick with roots that hang like locks of tangled hair. The weak starlight from the cabin windows behind you can barely penetrate the gloom here, only illuminating the edges of an opening below. It shines in the darkness like some kind of massive maw, waiting to swallow you up into the earth. The air smells of dirt and copper. It's thick and wet, as if your lungs are being coated in mud with each intake of breath. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice skitters up from below.
Something nasty finds itself on my stairs. Come on down. Don't be scared. I probably won't bite.
I'm not nasty.
But you are. You're a wretched little thing. I recognize that voice as easily as I recognized your nervous little footsteps coming up the path. I know who you are, and I remember what you've done.
See? She knows us. Is this enough for you to believe what we've been saying? Maybe, but you shouldn't let that cloud your judgment. She's just a princess. As long as you remember that and remain focused, slaying her will be easy. She seems friendly enough. Maybe we can talk our way out of this whole situation. You can't. Unless you slay her right away, she's going to break free and end the world. There's no reasoning with what she is. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I like to think out loud. I'm the kind of guy who likes a discussion. Don't we want to hear what everyone has to say before making any big decisions?
Yeah, that's why we talked to the princess before, right?
Do you want to hear what everyone has to say? Or do you just want to hear yourself talk?
Oh my god. I like the hero. He always gets so mopey, like he doesn't want to be here by the later points of every run, but he can also read his fellow voices so well.
You need to stop lingering. Your task is to slay the princess, not endlessly debate about what to do with the princess. Fine, fine. You're the boss. Thank you. You descend the basement steps, entering the dark room below. You can just make out the shape of the princess in the gloom. She's huddled against the far wall, her eyes bright and glaring from amid the thick roots.
She's very animalistic.
And there you are, once again seeming to offer a helping hand while likely hiding the other behind your back. Fine, I'll play along for now. What do you want?
She's acting like she already knows you. I guess what you said back in the woods really was true. That's pretty sharp. How'd you figure that one out? Call it deductive reasoning. Well, you seem to be great.
Oh my god, shut up. The opportunity is annoying.
So, you really don't remember us, do you? No, I don't. But you and the princess clearly have a shared reality, even if I'm not a part of it. I won't waste time fighting you on something that's clearly true. You fought us on it back in the woods. That was when the only perspectives we had were yours and mine. I'm just glad we could put all this behind us. Is it all behind us? Just focus on the task at hand. I don't care if you've been here before, and I don't care if you think you'll go somewhere else after this. My world is on the line right now, so I'd appreciate it if you would take this seriously and slay her. Let's chat her up a bit first. Maybe we can find a middle ground where everyone's happy. Don't talk to her. You're just going to make things more difficult than they have to be.
We've been talking for so long, and she's just been standing there looking at us.
Well, I seem to remember you having a tongue.
Exactly, princess. That's just what I was saying. Okay. We can just leave the basement. That's the only option we have right now. Look, should we say... I'm unarmed. That's a gesture of goodwill. Why don't we talk it out?
You came to me with empty hands last time, too. But that didn't mean you hadn't been plotting something nasty all along. What you did showed me as much.
But we didn't plot anything. We just made an informed decision based on the information we had at the time. I think you're both making perfectly valid points. Sure, we didn't plot anything, but it's easy to see how she might think we did.
I made a mistake. Things got messy. We should team up. You're gonna stab me in the back if I help you out of here. Let's not jump to that conclusion quite yet. I get the sense that you're not happy with me.
Is that a joke? Do you think a joke will charm my trust back? You'll have to try harder than that.
Can't you get out on your own? Those chains didn't stop you last time.
Oh, of course. They're nothing to me.
The princess grins as the chains fall from her wrist. She could have gotten out of those the whole time. That sneaky little... A woman after my own heart, really. She knows how to hold her cards close to her chest. This is why she can't just be abandoned here. If left to her own devices, she'll find a way out. Now stop her.
Leave with the princess or leave her in the basement? Okay, that's what we needed to get to leave with her. So what should we say? If you could have gotten out this whole time, what do you even need me for? Should we say we should team up? I mean, I'm curious about this. If you could have gotten out this whole time, what do you even need me for? The cabin isn't locked. I'm not really sorry about last time, and it wasn't a mistake. I'm not, and I think that this is kind of what the opportunists would want me to say, like, oh, it was just a mistake, but I don't want to live by his rules. I'm just curious about this.
The cabin lets prying little beasts like you come as you please, but it insists I stay where I am. That binding I shed is just a symbol of the crueler magic at work in this place. If I'm to leave, I'm to leave with you, and you alone.
Why do I have a nagging feeling you're gonna stab me in the back if I help you out of here?
And why would I do such a thing? Is someone's guilty conscience getting to them? But I wouldn't worry. As much as I may hate you, letting you live is in my best interests. If you get me out of here, the only thing that will be dead and buried is the bad blood between us.
Oh, that nagging feeling you mentioned is me, by the way. I'm actually a little anxious about a potential backstabbing event.
See, yeah, he described himself as a feeling. I mean, this only corroborates he's a personification of a coping mechanism interpretation.
She needs us to get out of here. We'll be fine if that's what we decide to do.
Yeah. And the witch is obviously a coping mechanism too. Like, she's tricksy. And she's learned that she needs to be tricksy to get what she wants.
You won't be fine because destruction is in her nature. If she gets out of here, that's it for the world, remember? Even if that's true, that doesn't automatically mean she's going to stab us in the back. I think that depends on your definition of words like stab and in the back. She might not literally do that, but she could very well symbolically do the same thing. See? He gets it. There's nothing wrong with looking out for number one.
Alright, because I don't really like the opportunist, I'm not gonna look out for number one, and I'm gonna leave with her, I think. I don't think I've ever, like, tried to leave with the princess at all in any version of these events that I've played out. In all the 10 loops that I've done, I've never tried to leave with the princess. So this should be an interesting change of pace. I've always either killed her, locked her up, died, or had her be absorbed. Okay, let's leave. Leave with the princess.
Yes, let's.
She creeps forward, taking one cautious step at a time until you and she are face to face. She never breaks eye contact, even as the two of you find yourselves face to face.
Taken into the design. I love the, like, cat-like eyes.
She's silent for a long moment, as if testing to see what you'll do now that she's within arm's reach.
After you, darling. You're the one it lets come and go. It's best if I follow.
Oh no, we can't have that. If anyone is going to turn their back on anyone else, she's going to turn her back on us. It shouldn't matter who leads and who follows. We're working together here. Well, if it doesn't matter, then she can go first. We may be in this together, but that doesn't mean we have to trust her. Somebody has to go first, and it might as well be us. We're the ones who broke her trust last time. You're talking a lot about trusting someone who, by her very definition, cannot be trusted. I don't know how many more warnings I have to dole out, but if you help her out of here, you're going to regret it.
You first.
And turn my back on you? Do you think me a fool? Your tricks are one of the only things I've known, and I've learned better by now.
I'm trusting, but I'm not that trusting.
Just go first.
Okay, I won't insist. I won't insist. We're trying to not be an opportunist right now. We're trying to trust. So let's step onto the stairs.
That's right. You're the one who's going first. Don't worry, I'll be right behind you watching every single thing you do.
That's exactly what I'm worried about. You step onto the stairs and begin your ascent from the basement. The princess follows close on your heels, perhaps even a little closer than you'd like. You're only saying that because you want us to feel nervous. I do want those things, but I want them for a good reason. I don't need you to trust me for my sake, because I already know that I'm right. This is for you. Can we walk backwards up the stairs? I think that's the smarter idea. She can't sneak in and attack if we're facing her. No. The stairs are a bunch of overgrown roots. You'll trip and hurt yourself. But the princess is silent as you both continue the climb, and in no time at all, the upstairs of the cabin is within reach.
Always catches me off guard when the voice acting auto progresses without me clicking.
Isn't that a relief? We're fine. Nothing happened.
You took one step, man.
You're not even going to wait until you're through that door to proudly claim your victory, are you? Why did you just say that? I think we know why. You feel something dig into your shoulder, sharp and piercing. The princess clawing at you and pulling you down with her full weight. Together you tumble back down the uneven stairs, your body and hers crashing against the unyielding wooden roots, until finally you both separate with a bone-shaking thud against the basement floor. You feel something pop. The princess lands against the far wall, gasping as she struggles to recover from the impact. You're still in shock, trying to get a hold of yourself. She grins as you continue to remain exactly where you are, cackling derisively as she watches you realise that you won't be getting up.
Well, now she can't escape either.
Wait, why won't we be getting up? I'm afraid your back is broken. One unlucky fall is all it takes, really, and you had several.
Did she hurt herself falling too?
You know what? I'll say it. That sucks. I don't like having a broken back. We were going to help her. Why? Why did she do that? It's what I would have done. Have you considered not being like that?
You tell him, hero.
Of course not. It's what keeps us alive. And yet here we are, paralysed and stuck with someone who hates us in the basement of a remote cabin.
You must have known this was coming. The arrogance of turning your back to me after everything you've done.
We could have gotten out of here if we just trusted each other. Yeah, I know. I think I know what the hell that was for. I can't get up. You broke my back. I'm not going to say that. That's too obvious. We were never going to get up those stairs, were we?
The princess lets out a mocking laugh.
By our very natures, only one of us could make it upstairs unscathed. Someone had to make the first move. Better me than you.
See, this is why I wanted her to go first. I had this whole little scheme planned, where once she'd passed by the table upstairs, I'd have said, now pick up the blade and stab her in the back. And then you'd say something like, wow, that's an amazing idea that I never saw coming. Thanks for looking out for us. And then you would have done it and we wouldn't be stuck down here with a broken back. There's just one problem with that. And what's that? She was clearly planning to betray us. And if she was in front of us, she would have gotten to the blade first. Ugh, you're right, aren't you? I thought this whole thing was ironclad, but really it was doomed from the start, wasn't it? The princess's body twitches as she tries to get up.
She's broken too.
Ho ho ho! So she's got it as bad as us.
Something inside me is broken. Isn't that a cruel twist of the knife? Isn't that so funny?
She eyes you with intensity, silence falling between you for a long moment as her gaze travels up and down your battered form.
Seems I'm not the only one, though.
Wait, are we both just stuck here? Certainly seems that way. What a way to go. But look on the bright side. In all this chaos, you may have actually managed to deliver a lethal wound. The world could be saved after all.
We're going to die together. Isn't that a lovely treat? I wonder how long it'll take. Maybe I'll get to watch the worms lick your bones clean.
Is that really what's going to happen?
Oh, edges are coming in. Oh, yep, that's her.
Hello? Are you still there? What happens next?
He doesn't respond.
I think he's gone.
Something strange is twisting this place out of shape. I wasn't feeling much of anything, but now I feel cold.
What a way for her to go. But you don't get the chance to respond. Something has taken her away and it's left something else in her place.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
I don't know where she went, and I don't know how we'd even go about looking for her. Can we move now?
Does this mean we won? You're right. She's gone. It's just us and that awful thing.
The narrator is gone.
He is. Does that mean the world ended? We're top of the pecking order now. Right, boys?
I think I'm supposed to look at the mirror.
There's something dreadful about it. I don't think you should. If he thinks it's bad, I'm with him. I'm begging you, don't do this.
Mirror never scared you before? This is our first run.
It's different now. It feels...
Oh.
I don't know. Final.
In the cabin, the mirror. You approach the mirror. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone, but the mirror remains. It's time for you to see what's in it. It's you. You are alone in a place that is empty. It is quiet here. You are at the cabin. Approach her.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel.
The gift of a fragile vessel?
Yes. Nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond. Perspectives to make my own. This one is hope marred by bitterness and betrayal. She could see the end of the tunnel, and the door was closed on her. She will make for a righteous heart. Do not mourn her. She is finally on the other side.
What are you?
I am solitary lights in an empty city. What are you?
I don't know what I am.
I think that you are like me. We are oceans, reduced to shallow creeks.
Let her out of there.
I'm sorry. There are some changes that can never be undone. There are some tears that can never be unshed. This is not a place that can hold a fragment of a concept. The moment she arrived here, she was going to return to me. I promise that it doesn't hurt.
Are you the princess?
She is part of me, and part of me is her.
But were you always the princess, or are you just making her a part of yourself?
You speak in circles. Does it matter where one thing begins and another ends?
Do we know each other?
You are familiar, but you are not me. I feel sadness, longing, hope as I witness you.
I said this when I got this line in my first attempt at recording, but I cannot imagine someone playing this game and for their first instinct to be to choose an ending, any ending that doesn't involve these two characters living the closest thing to a happily ever after as they can. There's such a bitter romance to these ending segments. It makes me tear up. What happens now?
Nothing, as we are. But I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives, so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom.
Aren't you scared that I'll find a way to kill you?
I have not lived. I am not afraid to die.
How much will I forget?
Everything, until we meet again.
I was sent to slay the princess to stop her from destroying the world. If I help you, is that what you're going to do?
You ask of things that cannot be done. To destroy is merely to reshape, to remold.
Let it be. Okay, make me forget.
She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
Everything goes dark, and you die. Alright.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
Alright, I think we're gonna stop there. I'm gonna save here. So that was the witch. Maybe I chose kind of an underwhelming route for her, but like, I don't understand why she was called the witch for the first place. Like, this whole time I've been imagining, oh, she's gonna have like a cauldron down there and she's gonna take our organs to make a stew or a potion or something. But no, that's not what it was. It's just her and the opportunist all both planning to trick each other and trick each other back and everything. Like, of course, every princess has like several routes you can take with her, and if I had taken the blade, there would probably be more. But yeah, I think that's a successful first princess in the Pristine cut. I doubt that was part of the Pristine cut, because the achievement I got, the frog, for letting the princess trick me, that was an achievement that I could have gotten before, I think. But yeah, next time I think I will try to get to the beast. Until then, I have been Mars, and I will be back with more Slay the Princess.